Alright guys, well, I'm gonna give this a go. So, there's been a couple times recently where I've played Ruinberg in pub matches, both from the north and south side, and I every single time rant and rave about, is this map broken? What's wrong with it for pub matches? Why is this happening? So, basically, I'm just gonna go over kind of my ideas of why I think this map is broken, why it is a huge problem for pub matches, and why I think that one spawn gets a significant advantage over the other. So the first thing to note is that in the recent changes, well, not that recent anymore, I guess, the changes to the map, there was a bunch of positions added to the north side, such as this and this, and obviously the whole back here was opened right up. And this was supposed to give the north side a little bit more of an advantage to mirror the nasty camp that people would like to do in that area of the map. They also knocked down a berm in the middle here, and a couple other little things were done. But I don't think enough was done to change the map to make it an even map. So, first of all, I'm just going to state my opinion that the south side of this map has a significant advantage in random battles. A significant advantage. And there's multiple positions that give it that advantage, in my opinion. So there's the two to three main fight areas. The first main area that I find a lot of fights go on, and I'm just going to highlight it with a gross square right here, is kind of your classic heavy brawl area. The second area that there's obviously a lot of fighting, and many of you have played these positions before, is the Delta Village. And the third area, if you want to call it an area that anybody fights, because if you go here it's not really much of a fight, is kind of this middle area, when realistically just this position you can play right here. That window, that's about it for the middle. Right, so you've got 1, 2, 3 areas to play on this map. So, why does the south side, in my opinion, have an advantage? Well, number one, I'm going to look at the heavy area. If you look at the heavy area here in the south, there are significant lanes of fire that you're able to take in a random battle where you're not exposing yourself whatsoever, and you open up a mass amount of shots to multiple positions on the map. So G1 is such position. This position here offers a lane of fire basically onto migrating heavies when they're still coming south, especially if you're in a fast heavy or even slower haul down tanks. This position is incredibly powerful. You basically, from this position, can shut down multiple lanes of fire, and by using the position a little more so, you can shut down pushes and even slow plays into the middle of the map. So this position here really has no mirror on the other side of the map. Being able to come here right away and being able to put fire into this area, almost looking up into, the enemy's third of the map, you're looking up into the D line. You can be farming things on C3. If people play poorly in D1, you can farm them in the windows. You do have to be careful of E1. People like to poke around, but your cover here is far superior to theirs. And there's actually this little fountain right here that will help block some of those shots out. So one, maybe two tanks can play this successfully. And you can kind of time their reloads. So it completely shuts this down. And if you look at it, if you call, you say there's 50% of the map to the red team, and you were to draw a line kind of through the F line, right? And we're just going to look at the city, so I'm just going to draw it here. You can see that just based on spawn, the south claims more territory right off the bat. Their position claims more. Here's the example of the 277 being able to come here, claim the position early, you're able to engage multiple positions, you spot multiple enemy vehicles, and you completely shut down any chance of the enemy being aggressive into the village. The second position that you're able to get to from the south side, that there's just no opposite to the north side, the counter, is you're able to come to right here, and you're able to play right here. You can drive straight there off the bat, taking any sort of pathing such as this. You may take some fire crossing the middle if you're in a slower vehicle, but you can basically get to this position free and clear. So why is that important? Well, you're already on the enemy's team of the kind of the 50% mark. You're already 50% across the map, and you're in cover. Now this position is very strong to counter this. So there is actually a counter to this position, but you don't necessarily need to play directly against this. Once you take this position here, you can start shooting back up into the middle of the map, countering the center position of the enemy. So there's those kind of two positions, and used in tandem, this position and this position, it is almost impossible to push out the south and make positive trades. The only way really is to hope that your artillery focuses G1, which it usually does because arties are good players. And yeah, basically these two positions here counter the city, and unless your team makes a very concerted push, kind of in behind a flank or something like that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You've already lost more than 50% map control, and we all know that random battles aren't exactly the most coordinated, and they don't always have the best players in them, so digging out these positions is going to be hard. So that kind of covers the city positions. This G1 position is just kind of the all-winning city shutting down in tandem with this kind of defensive position here. But basically this position here kind of shuts down the enemy mirrors, and this is not mirrored properly, so this kind of wins the south side of the city. So then let's move to the middle. Like I just said, this is really the only position that the north spawn gets to come to, and you'll see a lot of this in pub matches. You'll see north side tanks diving to this, and you'll see south side tanks diving like this. And as you can see from these two positions, this is clearly the more covered position. Far superior, bar none. Absolutely just, destroys this position. He can stay in perfect cover. He can be completely covered from anything out in the field. And as you'll see, there's, each lane of fire can kind of help the other out. But he can stay completely safe from everything and only engage this position, whereas this position here has to think about other things, such as this F1 position, such as poking out to here because of the city. And this is where the city can be a little bit of a stalemate, because there are some counterable positions like this, but the field just begins to snowball the south side advantage like crazy. This clip illustrates how easy it is for you to take from the south side the middle of the map. You can take a strong position which is able to help the city. You're able to stop the enemy from being able to take the middle themselves, and instantly, using the cover, engage the field and start shutting down enemy tanks. So I can't really talk about the middle without talking about the Delta Village. This is just absolutely blatantly broken in my opinion. If you zoom in here, and you've probably played it on the map, there's a knoll or a dirt mound or whatever the hell you want to call it right there and right there. Now if you look at that, you can drive to these positions from the south completely free and clear. You can drive right to there, or you can drive through the gap right to here. And assuming you have a little bit of team support, which you probably will because the Delta Village is broken from this side of the map, you can sit here in complete cover from here and absolutely destroy anybody who tries to play the middle of the map here. So these positions here, because you can take them so free and clear, just give you such massive advantages that the middle tanks here really have no way to counter or be able to play the game. So that might as well be completely disregarded from the north, because if you coming here and the enemy team chooses to send one medium tank here, one here, let's say, your game is all but over, and as soon as somebody comes to here, you're just sitting in the corner waiting for the inevitable to happen. Also affects the field. So if you look on this side, there's nothing that counters you sitting on your own side of the map. There's the kind of the 50% mark like I was talking about, and sitting on your own side of the map in this position, you've got buildings, you've got bushes, and you've got hull downs that cover you from the city, from the field, and from artillery if need be. So the zero line has become, with these defensive positions put in A0 and K0, somewhat unpushable, especially in random matches, because again, you don't have the coordination, and if one tank chooses to sit back here or back here, for instance, and you choose to try and push this out, well, we all know how pushing on your own goes in pub matches. You blow up pretty quick, you get frustrated, you go back to garage. So the south side here, again, you can come to these positions and you can sit hull down, and you've already taken more than 50% of the map. What'll happen here is when you take this position, not only are you killing tanks and shutting down the middle of the map, but you're also proxy spotting the only playable position in the field for the enemy team in this bush line, and the bush line is the only thing that gives them cover. If you're playing on the side scraping position here, you're really not engaging much. You're kind of just sitting safe from this position and hoping that maybe you have a tank back here that keeps him in check, and you're sitting safe from this position hoping that somebody doesn't get wise and start wandering up here. And once you're proxy spotted here, you can actually play in the buildings in this position from the south side. And you can just drive up like this. And a couple other tanks will start getting aggressive as well once they see, hey, maybe there's some damage to be had. And you basically just get absolutely destroyed from this angle right here. And if you're a red tank, or a green tank, let's say, and you're your friendly neighborhood medium and you sit there, you actually will not spot an enemy tank firing on you from this position. There's this row of bushes right here, and you will be dead from this pinch and this pinch, and your only hope is basically to sit right here against the building, hoping, not letting this guy shoot you, hoping that these guys don't push forward on you, and basically just taking it from this guy. And praying that you have support back here. So, basically what I'm trying to say here is that playing the north side of the city here is a complete crapshoot. Complete crapshoot. If your team sits behind you and supports you, you might live. You probably won't get a lot of damage. You're probably going to be taking the damage and just spotting it, which is basically relying on your teammates to play the game properly. You may have the odd game where a lot of your team comes out to the city here, and if they really hold this position really well, then you'll be able to play here for a little longer. But for the most part, from what I've found, this is just a complete and utter death trap. So let's say, if you look at this, you just can't play this position on the map at all. So if you can't play here, you can't play here, and you can't play here, all of a sudden you've got advantageous positions for the city, for the middle of the map, and the field. And that is basically why I think that Ruinberg is completely and utterly unbalanced right now, because for free in a random match, just by everybody going to their designated areas as everybody thinks, heavies going to the heavy, the city brawl, mediums coming to the middle and the delta village, the south side automatically has the stronger positions and more map control, and that map control leads to a snowball effect on vision, health, and eventually winning the game. So yeah, that's kind of what I think about Ruinberg right now, how it plays out in the current meta in a random battle. Anyway, that's it. Might do some more maps in the future. I know there's some other ones. Siegfried line comes to mind, Mannerheim line. If you guys have any ideas, let me know, maybe in a comment or something like that. And yeah, thanks for watching if you stuck through it all.